All right, peace, and Black Power family. Welcome to another episode of African Liberation School, broadcasting live every Saturday here on Get This Wisdom Live. Salute and honor to Get This Wisdom Live, Get This Wisdom magazine. Today is their 1 year anniversary, and they've been in existence for a year, and they're going from digital to physical print. So, salute and honor to the great team that is Get This Wisdom magazine. Salute to Shakti Everlasting Peace, Earth Cali Divine, Keep Young, Priya Dumas, and the new addition, Brian Liggins, and the rest of that dynamic team that is Get This Wisdom magazine. It's your brother Knowledge Born Law, and I'm definitely honored to have in the mix, Black by popular demand, the divine warrior, African mind, a redeemer for our people in regards to reconnecting our connection back to our ancestors via this Kemet tradition. So the title of this series is One Time for Kemet. It will be a 6-week series that we got going on. We had a brief overview last week, and due to some irregularities, the stream was cut short, but we're gonna, do the best that we can with the type of information and type of technology that we have right now. So it becomes my honor and privilege at this time to introduce some and present the others. Nasut, Chief Priest of Union Suit, my brother, your brother, Aankhu Benu is in the building. Hetepu, Uncle Johnson Ever.
All right, Uncle Johnson Ebb, Hetep, peace, life, prosperity, and health. It's an honor to be here on the platform once again. African Liberation School live on Get This Wisdom magazine. We about to get it in. As you said, one time for Kemet. There's a lot of misinformation, a lot of misconceptions, a lot of deception, etc. So on. Passing around, floating around as it pertains to Kemet, as it pertains to Kemetic spirituality. So we want to make sure that we take our time and lay down lay down a good foundation today. That'll carry us over the course of the next several weeks, and really demonstrating what Kemet, what Kemetic spirituality, what Nile Valley culture actually is. So that you will be able to easily, discern what it is not, and save yourself a lot of time and energy messing around with that which it is not. So, like I said, I'm happy to be here. Definitely, special thanks, much thanks to you, Brother Bourne, for the invitation, and definitely, thanks and praises to the sisters of Get This Wisdom magazine, Queen Shati, and Sister, Kylie, and whatnot. I salute you guys for opening up the invitation. So with that said, man, I'm ready to get it in.
All right, we're going to open in proper form.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, let's start things off in the right order. First and foremost, so making paying homage to our ancestors. So, Sinetaratin Yata, Mutniter, Kabaruim, Nunet, Kabaruim, Ra, Riot, Kabaruim, Shoot, to Nut, Kabaruim, Wataru, Kabaruim, Pesajun, Netarun, and Boo. So, it is the power Father, Mother Nater, who manifests as Nunet. Ra, Rayet, Eshu, Tufnut, Hiwateru, Heteru. So all the divine forces of nature. Keparuim, Nut, Geb, Keparuim, Oser, Keparuim, Heruwa, Keparuim, Sutesh, Keparuim, Osset, Keparuim, Net, Het, Keparuim, Ampu, Dwawat, Keparuim, Heru Sao, Set, Sao, Set, Keparuim, Tahuti, Dwan, Madunater, Keparuim, Subet, Dwa, Mu, Keparuim, Pesaju, Netaru, Nebu, Pesaju, Garet, Pesaju, Neches. So it's a power Father, Mother, who manifests as Newton Geb, Oser, Heruar, also called Behudet, Sutet, Orset, Nebhet, Anpu, opener of the way. Heru, son of Oser and Oset, Tahuti, Dwa, Lord Medunater, and Sebek, Dwa, Lord, you who dwells in the water. And salutation of power to all of the great forces of nature and the smaller forces of nature. Nesharatin Gitamu, the Ter Keparuim, or Ser Kintia Minti, Jerti, Im you hot, Im you bat, Im you woe, Sepsuida, Ku, Hesi you. Salutation of power, Father Mother Ter, manifest as Oser, foremost, first, chief amongst the Westerners. Salutation of power to our ancestors, the legendary ones, the ancient ones, those of yore, those from before, those at the head, the venerable ones, the honorable ones, the holy ones, the sacred ones, the praised ones, the effective ones. We salute our ancestors. Necharatin, Damepin, Hininzu, Damed. Salutation of power, Father Mother Patel, who manifests as collective. Salute to Himin Su. Salute to all of the Africans tuning in. I salute you and your great ancestors. Duadeter. All right, let's get this thing popping.
All right, GG. The floor is yours. And what's your manner? You want to attack it? I guess I can ask a research question to get the juices flowing.
Yes, sir.
Can we start with some of the biggest misconceptions in regards to what's been said or what may have been written in regards to Kemetic spirituality that you found?
Okay, I mean, there's a lot of them. Let's say, for instance, there's a misconception that, well, we're not going to waste our time with the non-African stuff. You know what I mean? Let's go forward. Just letting it be known from the jump that we're talking about an African tradition, an African culture, African people. Okay. Our ancestors, that's one of the greatest misconceptions, is that, okay, these people were not African, okay, or they weren't black. A lot of our ancestors, many of our ancestors, they put that one to bed a long time ago. But I say, even for those that continue to deny that these were Africans, or even if they say, okay, yeah, they were African, but they ain't got nothing to do with us, because our ancestors come from West Africa, quote unquote. You got folk that say those kind of things as well. Eventually, at some point in time in this series, I will go on to demonstrate not only were these, African people, which, that's redundant to me, but not only were these African people, but I'm going to demonstrate that, the primary groups, Africa, in Central Africa, many of us trace our, lineage or ancestry to, in our last point of departure from the African continent. Those primary groups trace their ancestral origin back to the Nile Valley, back to Kemet, back to Nubia. So, that's something that we'll get in and we'll demonstrate it. We'll show the evidence from the cosmological standpoint, their oral traditions and what it is that they say amongst themselves, of themselves. We'll demonstrate the same ritual systems. We'll demonstrate this, even in some instances, the same deities, the same forces by the same name with the same function present in these traditions, you know, beginning in the Nile Valley, coming all the way into Western Africa. So we'll talk about those things at a later point in time. But today, one of the biggest you know, things I want to, you know, deal with was, okay, you hear people say that okay, these people, you know, they didn't have a concept of the divine, or they had a you know, their idea of the divine was what you would consider to be polytheistic, which, you know, for whatever reason, you know, the you know what I'm saying, he always wants to paint the picture that, okay, these, you know, that polytheism, or, you know, is something bad, or whatever the case may be. You know, it's you know, we don't really care about what the cracker says, but in general, you know, I'm going to demonstrate that he's incorrect in saying that, you know, African spirituality and, you know, Kemetic spirituality, ancient Kemet, you know, these people were polytheists. You know, they're incorrect in saying that. We'll demonstrate it from the cosmologies today. Okay, and you know, I'm going to, you know, also do away with the notion of monotheism, because both of them are, you know, they're inadequate. Both terms are inadequate to describe the reality of what African people and how African people perceive existence, reality, and the way that they articulated it in their, you know, in their cultural, their spiritual cultural expression. Okay, so, you know, we want to deal with these misconceptions, and, you know, I want to put forth as somewhat of a guideline, you know, addressing the misconceptions, dealing with the pillars, what I consider to be the pillars of African spirituality. You know, you got folk that say, okay, these like, they were polytheists. You got folk that say, okay, these you know, these forces that they dealt with, they weren't forces. All of this was just symbolic. They were principles and ideas, okay, that they depicted, you know, for whatever reason. You know, they didn't set up shrines, they didn't make offerings, they didn't make sacrifices, they didn't perform divination. You know, all of these things, right? We want to nip all that in the bud. They didn't venerate their ancestors, or, you know, ancestral veneration was reserved for royalty, and we want to deal with that stuff. We want to deal with the the misconception that the Nile Valley tradition, Kemetic tradition, is a dead tradition. Okay, it's dead, right? It died in, you know, in ancient time, and, you know, what are we doing today with it, etc. So we want to deal with that too. We'll nip that in the butt, and you know, that's really just the beginning of what it is that we want to actually address, you know, in this. But we want to use these pillars as a guideline in doing so. See, Equanif then joined, then you know, came in the building. Uncle Jacinel.
Number whatever. Yeah, number 3. Yeah, they was number 3.
It's a pool.
Okay, let's see. Got been in the building too. Uncle Jacinel.
What's up, boo?
Till. Uncle Jacinel. I say, good to have y'all on the line.
Boo.
It's a pool.
That's a pool. Can y'all not hear me?
Can y'all hear me?
Till, we can hear you.
Not you. Not talk over here.
You kind of chopping up. I don't know if I'm coming out.
Okay, let me see. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, Uncle, you good. They coming in a little chop and
I can't really understand.
Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, Uncle, you good.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was saying, you know, it's good to have y'all in the building. We about to get this thing cracking.
Hear you, Uncle.
You can hear me?
Over one of the centers or something. Ah, yeah. And they called penalty on that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Good deal. Good deal. All right. So before we start, oh yeah, and I say this is another major misconception that we gotta address. We gotta first and foremost speak to it and define it, right? It's kind of related to that that you know sentiment that I spoke to. You know that it's often said that we have no connection to Kemet. Our ancestors come from West Africa. This is what they say. They also say, and this is from some so-called adherents, Kemet allegedly. Okay, they're supposed to deal with Kemet or practice Kemetic tradition. They often try to make it seem as though the ancient Kemetic spiritual tradition and spiritual science is something that's completely different from the rest of the spiritual traditions throughout the continent of Africa. You know, they want to make it seem as though tradition is different from, let's say, completely and totally different, I should say, because each tradition and culture has its certain things about it that are unique and certain nuances and whatnot, but there are more universals that tie African traditions together than what separates them. So we're going to demonstrate that Kemet has a great deal in common with voodoo. Kemet has a great deal in common with Ifa. There's a great deal in common with the Akan tradition, okay, or the Dogon, or the Bambara, okay, or the Bamoun, Bamerike, okay, the Congo, right? We want to demonstrate that it is like the Kemetic tradition is African in every way, okay, in terms of the culture and the spiritual tradition and the practices and things of that nature. As a matter of fact, things that you see in voodoo, the things that you see in Ifa, the things that you see in the Dogon, the things that you see in all of these traditions, you find them first and foremost in Kemet. We're going to make that clear. So that's another major misconception that we want to knock out. So before we jump right into it, though, I want to lay out the what I consider to be the pillars. Okay, right? Lay out the pillars, and from there we can go forward. Right, so these are what I consider to be the pillars of African traditions, right? The acknowledgement of one divine being. This one divine being manifests itself and works through a multiplicity of beings and agencies, so-called deities or lesser gods, all being aspects of the one. Approach, becoming acquainted with and realization, communion with the divine being is accomplished greatly through its many agencies. The acknowledgement, veneration, and interaction with ancestors and their interceding in our affairs. Communion and communication with the spiritual realm through ritual and divination. This includes deities or Neteru and ancestors, Jertiu, Aku, etc. the importance of satisfying and uplifting the various agencies of the spirit world through our spiritual moral cultivation, offerings, and sacrifice for success in life and the realization and actualization of one's innate potential. Okay, now for the, for those of us who had the, we suffer from crackatosis, or we have westernized minds, westernized we have a tendency to want to in our hyper intellectualism and hyper reductionist, right, reductionism, we want to, we would like to, we find problems, right? Let's just say, with many of the pillars and points that I just pointed out, in that, they want to, make it seem, or make Kemet, I should say, suitable mind. They want to reinterpret and redefine Kemet in a way that coddles their crackatosis. Okay, and that's something that we definitely can't have, right? So I'm constantly running into people that let's say, for instance, I posted these pillars as it pertained to Kemet, on the social media, a couple of weeks ago or whatever, a month or so ago, and a would-be intellectual took serious issue with the pillars as the way that I laid it down, and they absolutely revealed themselves, exposed themselves as a surveyor. They exposed themselves as someone outside of African culture, someone outside of African traditions, okay, a non-initiate, right, trying to interpret and define African culture and spiritual traditions as an outsider, okay, trying to redefine it and say that those that are inside practicing and initiated got it all wrong. And then take it a step further to say that our ancestors got it all wrong. You see, once it's exposed that they don't know what the hell they're talking about, then they want to say, oh, well, the ancestors got it wrong. You see, they say, well, they didn't practice divination, but then when you show them the evidence that they practice divination, the overwhelming evidence that they practice divination, they want to say, well, that's what, they got it wrong. That's what led to the downfall of Kemet. You see? Or, our ancestors got it wrong. It's on us to correct the da-da-da-da-da-da-da, right? This is what I find often, that those that still suffer from crackatosis, okay, still have the Negropean mind. You see, they want to redefine Kemet in a way that coddles their crackatosis. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. But those are the pillars that that I want to lay down, and we can use it as a guide in beginning to address many of the misconceptions. First and foremost, starting with the acknowledgement of one divine being. That is the foundational premise of all African traditions. Okay, it is that there is only one being in existence, period. There's one being in existence, period. And all other beings, all other forces, everything else that exists are simply aspects, simply expressions, manifestations. One being, okay, of the one being. All right. So we want to make it clear, okay? We want to make it clear that that's not the case, right? So it totally eradicates polytheism. We want to make it clear that our ancestors were not polytheists.
You got that?
Okay. Okay, so first and foremost, let's deal with this this whole polytheism thing. You know, and if y'all, I say, if y'all got questions, if anybody in the YouTube got questions, you know, so you want to add on at any time, definitely by all means, feel free to do so. I say we good to go though. We ready to rock?
Yeah, we on deck, DJ.
Okay. All right. So let's start off with the whole polytheism thing, right? You know, you look.
What's that book? What's that book you was reading out of? What's that book you was reading?
The book I'm reading out is called Remembering Gosser. This book right here. Remembering Gosser by your brother, Aankhu Benu. Those of you, if you don't know, that's me right there. I'm your brother, Aankhu Benu. Okay. This is my my third book. Okay. And if you want to understand, truly understand Kemetic spirituality and actually practice the tradition, this is the book that will give you the most sound, the most solid foundation in the culture and tradition that you can possibly have. There is not another book out that can equip you, and I'll say, because that's another misconception that Kemet, I say all the knowledge of Kemet was lost, it dispersed. Right? It's either lost to time or dispersed throughout the world. So we got to go through all these other non-African sources to get the Kemetic tradition or to reconstruct the Kemetic tradition. I have to learn yoga to practice Kemetic spirituality, or I have to learn Kabbalah to practice Kemetic spirituality, or I got to learn Taoism or Hinduism or whatever the case may be to practice Kemetic spirituality. No, you don't. No, you don't. You know what I mean? Most of the people that say these things have never been to Kemet. And for those that have been to Kemet and they still say those things, they done been in the game too long. This is what's wrong with them. They've been in the game too long to the point where, for them to say that I got it wrong, it would look too bad for them. They didn't release too much work with too much misinformation, right? That their status, people done bought into it and built their lives around it, to the point where if they say I got it wrong, you built your lives something that was in error. How could you do that after you've been teaching for 30, 40 years? You see what I'm saying? So we don't have to go outside of Kemet to understand Kemet. We don't have to look to the Chinese or the East Indian or the Jew, okay, or so-called Hebrew, okay, to understand Kemet. Okay, we don't have to look to Western Freemasonry or Masonry in general. Okay, whether it's European Masons or Black, we don't need to look to Masons or Greek fraternities or none of that shit to understand Kemet at all. At all. We need to look to Kemet, look to Nubia, look to the Sudan. You see, to understand Kemet and Nile Valley culture, and then look to Africa in the greater context to understand Kemet in the greater context of African spirituality. That's it. That's it. So this book is 666 pages. This is my offering, okay, from the ancestors to the ancestors and to our people, dealing with the reconstruction, the practice, the actual practice of this tradition in a way that we find to be most accurate and most authentic as our ancestors laid it down. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Equanif, you want to add on, sir?
Oh, absolutely. Just kind of speaking because I guess I was going to ask you the question because I have had the opportunity of sitting in the presence of Runoko Rashidi, and out of all the black people that I know or people that I know, period, he is one of the ones that does, I guess, scour the world or goes to different places looking for African greatness, African culture, from all of the things that I've learned about him. And from all of his trips, I asked him, I think he said he's gone to 120 something countries out of the 200 some odd countries there are in the world. So he's been the majority, the majority of the world. I asked him out of all of the things that he studied, where is it that he saw the pinnacle of the African will being exemplified or being utilized, being tapped into? He said nowhere outside of the Nile Valley. And my question is, for those that are the students, that are the teachers, that are the ones that are picking up the culture and the tradition, how important is it to cling on to the scholarship? Because I guess sometimes these guys aren't popular. They aren't as popular as Rick Ross or Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant. But how do you feel about our children? I guess missing out on the opportunity to even potentially engage with some of the greatness, like that elder brother, and also yourself and the others that are working to liberate Africa, but in the context of historical excavation, actually looking at the physical content, studying, observing. What is it to kind of lift these people that do that in an integrity mind, or those that do it with integrity?
Okay.
Is it to lean on these guys or to support them as well as we,
Okay. Well, I said I'm gonna tell you, I don't vouch for too many folk. Okay. So just want to make that clear. I don't vouch for too many folks. So I know who the good brother, okay, or the brother Runoko Rashidi is, and I'm familiar with some of his work. I don't know him or his sentiments, so I can't necessarily vouch for or recommend that anybody send their children to engage him or anything like that. However, I will say this: it is important when you do find people to who are doing serious work, doing good work, that you see folk that are upholding or uplifting our ancestors, okay, especially if it serves the purpose of giving our people knowledge of self, as well as empowering our people of our liberation. So if it's not about African liberation, if it's not about African empowerment, okay, I don't care about it. I don't want to hear it. I don't care. Okay. Absolutely. So that being said, everybody that's doing work, okay, doing good work, good information, valid information, okay, that that they're actually going and documenting and bringing it back, and it's attested and all these things, sitting sound information, and they have sound character, okay, and they are about our people, okay, about enlightening our people, empowering our people, and liberating our people, then I think it is a good thing to, you know, make sure that your children are exposed to as much of that information as possible. You know, it may not necessarily be for your child or, you know, for the youth to engage these people directly, but, you know, through your engaging of these people, your engaging of the information, okay, then you can turn around and expose your children to that information. And then maybe one day, you know, they'll actually meet the individual that the information is coming from. And I say I will that when that day comes that they meet, that they got the information lives up to the actual the standard or the height that the information, you know, has actually built. You understand? So, you know, that's really the main thing. You know, if it's about our liberation. Another thing is you gotta support the scholars. Our giants, you know, die broke,
right,
and alone in many instances. You see, so you know it's important that we take care of our scholars, take care of our teachers. So especially if you want them, like for instance, the way that you mentioned. Okay, that brother, you know, traveling 127 countries. You know, that's crazy. I never heard anything like that before. Okay, you know, but traveling just in general, especially today in the Nile Valley, you know what I mean? That's, you know, I say a round trip ticket back. Okay, can be $1,500 just for the plane ticket. You know what I mean? It could be $1,500 just for the plane ticket. You know, and that's not counting your transportation once you get there. That's not counting your lodging and your food, and also your entry to the different sites and monuments and things of that nature, so that you can actually study. You know,
to you,
field research, financial sacrifice. Okay, it requires sacrifice of time, and it requires sacrifice, you know, financially. You know, so you know, I say it's important that the children are also exposed to the information, but it's important also that our people support those that are putting in the work and you know, to get the information and teach the information to them as well, so that they can keep doing it. You understand?
To you, and I guess that's why I asked. I guess that's why I asked that question, because a lot of times we can see our children, but you know, the children of Africans, you know, celebrating, you know, the stuff and the greatness of people that don't even represent or stand for the things that are indicative or important to their come up. You know, so like I said, that's why I did ask that question, because there are so many times where the people that have put in a lot of work to liberate Africa, to liberate Africans, to stand up as the voice, you know, a lot of times it seems like they are that martyr, because it's like, well, dog, they just gave their life as a sacrifice and nobody even cared. You know, like even with a martyr, I guess when they do that, they have the support of the people. But a lot of times in this case, you know, they sacrifice their resources, their life. So a lot of times they are parted from their families. You understand?
I said your audio done kind of faded out, brother. I say, you know.
Can you hear me?
Can hear you now. That's a lot better.
Yeah, I was just saying like how a lot of them, you know, like you said, it's kind of shameful that they are, or that our great scholars, the ones that are putting in the good work, are in that type of situation. And you know, I think that's something that should be looked at. Like I said, even as you're doing your work, as we are doing our work, that you know, the support of ourselves and also others to, you know, appreciate this work, to evolve and engage in this work. That is, you know, even more important. So, Dwanatel, I just wanted to ask that question.
Dwanatel, yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, all right. Okay, I say, see, we you know, then we good. So let's go on and deal with this first misconception, right? It's that the people of the Nile Valley were polytheists. You know, you see all of these, people look at the walls and they see all these, various forces, right? Got different ways that each of them is depicted, and each of them has a specific function and purpose, and then you got the shrines dedicated to each of them, etc. so on. So, in looking at this from the outside looking in, people say, okay, now these people worship many gods, so etc. so on. So, we want to, deal with that. We want to deal with the the misconception of polytheism, and also we want to also deal with, and maybe this will come later, deal with the the misconception that the people of Kemet actually worship the Neteru. Did they worship the Neteru? Right? Is that actually what we did? Did we worship the Neteru? We gotta talk about that. Okay, so before we get in, or let's say to start it off, I want to first and foremost, we want to do so from the actual cosmology of the ancestors. Whenever you're trying to address a point, or whenever you're trying to make a point, whenever you're looking to to really delineate fact from fiction, you need to stick to what you can actually prove, what is actually attested. Okay, what are your actual sources? And there are no sources more than primary sources. Okay, going straight to the source, right? The source, right? No secondary sources. Going straight to the source, the primary source. So we want to deal with that first and foremost from the cosmologies. All right. Now, let's start off with the cosmology of Ptah, as it's found on found on what's called the Shabaka stone. Okay. All right, so this particular cosmology, it speaks to Ptah as the universe in totality. Okay, and he goes on through a process of designing and defining his own being, his own self, his own body, and the creation of his body is the creation of order in the universe and everything that exists, existing as a part of the body or a limb of the body of Ptah. So, this is cosmology of Menefer. It's in, I have it in the book Remembering Gosser, and I have the Medunater or the glyphs and translation, right? So let's get this thing started, right? So Keper imhati nis imtit tu, right? Manifesting in the heart, manifesting through the tongue, the of Atum. Great is Ptah, giving life to all the Neteru and the Karu through his heart and through his tongue. Heru comes into being within him. Heru comes into being within Ptah. Tahuti comes into being within him as Ptah. Right? Keper in Heru im F, Keper im Tahuti im F Ptah. Okay? I'm going to go back and forth between the Madunate and the and the translation. Power manifests as heart and tongue and limbs according to the teachings that reveal it is within every body, every mouth, all Neteru, all men, all flock, every creeping thing, and everything that comes into being. Okay, everything that lives, commanding through thought and commanding through words whatever he desires, right? And this is speaking to Ptah, existing within all things as the heart and tongue, intelligence and power within all things. Okay. His 9 Neteru, here we go, right? Pesejud Neteru F, im mit F, im ib hu, nej hitu, right? His 9 Neteru are before him as heart, authoritative utterance, and teeth, sound and teeth, seed, lips, and hands of Atum. 9 Neteru came into being from Atum's seed and his fingers. Indeed, these 9 Neteru are the teeth and lips in the mouth, proclaiming the name of everything from which came forth. Eshu and Tufnut, and giving birth to the 9 Neteru. Okay? It's clear, right? And just to make it clear, Ptah, he's called, Ptah is called Ptah War Hat Nisit Peseju Neteru. Ptah, the great heart and tongue of the 9 Neteru, or the great intelligence, right? And sound, right? The vibration of these forces of the Peseju Neteru. Peseju Neteru, these are the forces of nature, or the quote unquote company or pantheon, right, of ancient Kemet, right? All of these forces, exist as the different parts of Ptah. His seed, his fingers, his teeth, his lips, his tongue, his heart. And creation in the cosmology of Menefer or Sabaka stone, it speaks to Ptah, right? Bringing himself into being, thinking, literally thinking and speaking himself into being, right? As these forces, and then ultimately the physical world. Okay? Going forward with it, it says, indeed, Peseju Neteru Himpu Nejehut or Nechut Sipet in Ru. Indeed, these 9 Neteru are the teeth and lips in the mouth. Ath Renin Ket Net Persu Perinsu, proclaiming the name of everything from which came forth. Yeshua Tufnut as him, giving birth to the Peseju Neteru. The vision of the eyes, the hearing of the ears, the breathing of air through the nose, relays the plans of the heart and brings forth every decision, repeats the thoughts of the heart. It gives birth to all the Neteru. His 9 Neteru, or his Peseju Neteru, were complete. Behold, every divine word came into existence by the thoughts of the heart and commands of the tongue of Ptah. Okay. All right. So that's just the Sabaka stone, right? That's just the Sabaka stone, or the cosmology of Menefer. But there's also the cosmology of Inu. Okay. This is called Mejat Inti Rek Keperunu Ra Seker Oapep, the book of knowing the evolutions of Ra Oapep. Okay. Jed Medu Nebejer Jedef Imket Keper F. And so you know I ain't just talking, right? This is actually in the book. You know. I just read that. Words of Nebejer, or the Lord of all, or Lord of the limits, right? The infinite, right? The all in all, so to speak. After his coming into being. Nukpu keper im keperi keper in keper keperu. I am that which came into being as the creator. I came into being and brought into being the various manifestations. Keper, keperu, neb, imket, keper, oset, keperu. Bringing into being all that came into being after I came into being. Many things form. Imper, imru, nan keper pet, nan keper ta, nan quemam sakta jetfet. Imbet pui, right? Coming forth, bringing into being all that came into being. After I came into being, many things formed. Coming forth from my mouth. The heavens did not exist, neither did the earth exist. Nothing had been created on the earth, not even the creeping things in that place. Thes in im sin nu im nun. I raised them from nu, a state of inertia. Nan gimme in bet ocho in imi im ib. I did not find a place that I could stand therein. I worked an incantation with my heart. Sinti in im ma iri in iru net wo kui. I laid a foundation with the law or ma'a, and I made every form. I was alone. Okay, spit out his shoe. Neither had I spit out Tufnut. Not existed another who worked with me. I laid a foundation with my heart, myself, to being the multitude of things which came into being, many things that had been born. Okay, I had union with my clenched hand. I joined myself in embrace with my shadow. Okay, I poured seed into my mouth and emitted a shoe and spit out Tufnut, says my father. They weakened my eye when they proceeded from me, because for 2 periods of time they proceeded from me, and after I became from 1 neter, 3 neteru. You hear that? Wa'u sin im ket keper im neter wo neter kamt. Okay, they proceeded from me after I became from 1 neter. Okay, once again, here it is, Ra, saying that he came into being as 1 neter, and then from 1 neter he manifested as 3 neteru. Okay, that is, from out of myself I came into being as this earth. Myself I came into being as this earth. Okay, I raised Ishu and Tufnut from the state of inertia. They existed within him. They brought to me my eye following behind them. Okay, just want to make it clear that he's, you know, here it is speaking to manifesting as creation. He goes on to say, you know, I then united my limbs. I wept over them, and mankind came into being from my tears. Okay, coming out of my eye, and after it came in and found another in its place, I endowed it with the light I created. Then it approached its place in my face. Afterwards, It therefore ruled this earth in its entirety. The seasons fall upon their plants. I endowed it with what it contained inside. I came forth as the plants and every creeping thing and all that came into being within them. This is Ra saying that he went through an evolutionary process, coming forth as the plants, coming forth as the earth, coming forth as everything, right? Everything that, you know, exists within it. Okay. I don't know about y'all, but does that sound like polytheism? Talk to me. Where y'all at?
It sounds like science class to me, man.
Uh-oh.
Sound like polytheism.
It sounds like like the observability of nature and respecting the aspects and the forces of nature, realizing that they are all interdependent, and I guess even respecting the progressive cycles of life and the stages of life. Just in us respecting the age we are now as middle-aged men. I'm not going to say old men. We're going to say middle-aged men. In order to respect or have a respect for a middle-aged man, you have to have a respect for the young man, because that you had to go through the stages of being a young man in order to become a middle-aged man. So I think what is happening here is this. It reminds me of some type of science illustration. How we always made things colorful. This is how I understood and understand the cosmology, as our ancestors put it out, made it very tasteful. Of course, this is what they were doing, as they were able to be descriptive and cataloging the events and playing out the scenarios, and basically how we can put ourselves in the seat and understanding how everything basically works together. Everything works together.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yo, I say we about to drive the nail. We about to drive the nail in the coffin real quick.
Drive that nail, man.
We about to drive that nail real quick.
Drop 50 on them.
Here we go. So here's the rest of this, right? This is part 2 to the same cosmology. Okay. I came into being as the creator of all that manifested. I came into being as the evolutions of Kepri, coming into being in the first time or the first moment. Bringing time into existence, right? His coming into being brought time and space into existence. I came into being as the evolutions of Kepri. I became the creator of forms. That is to say, I produce myself from the primordial matter. I produce myself from the primordial matter. My name, right? Rin-i Yosires Pautit Iri Mertui, right? My name is Osiris, the primordial matter of primordial matter, the source or the crux of the crux, the source of the source, right? So here, Ra is going as far as even identifying himself with and as his father knew, as the source that he brought himself into being from. He says, I am that. I am the crux of it. I'm the essence of it. I am the primordial matter of the primordial matter. Okay? Net ta, pin, E in F, Thes in E, Jert E. Okay. I have done my will, earth. I've spread within it. I lifted up my own hand. Yin in E, Rin E, Jes, Rin Pu, or Yin, pardon me, Yin in E, E, Jes, Rin Pu, Hikaru. I brought my own name into my mouth as Hika. Okay, Juju. Right? Keper in E, im Keperu, Keper Kui, im Keperu in Kepri. I came into being in the form of what manifested, and I came into being in the form of Kepri. Okay? Keper in E, im Pauti, Keper Oset, Keperu, im Tup-O, right? I came into being from the primordial matter, manifesting as the multiple forms from the beginning. I came into being from the primordial matter, manifesting as every form from the beginning. You see? So when you hear Aankhu Benu say, okay, that in the Kemetic tradition, there is no polytheism. There's only one being in existence, period. As a matter of fact, this one being is existence, period, in the Kemetic tradition. This one being is existence in totality, period. It is the ultimate and only reality, period. This tradition. That's the Kemetic tradition. Okay? Right? Our tradition teaches that the creator, right, you know, rose from the source, from his essence, right, in the tradition called Nu, right? A state of noon, inertia. It went from a state of inactivity to being active, a state of unconsciousness to a state of consciousness, a state of being to a state of living, chaos to a state of order or organization. Right? So this is talking about this being bringing itself into being by speaking its own name, making a sound. In the beginning was the word, right? Making a sound, right? That turned the lights on, begin to organize and define and design itself. You see, right? And it goes on to evolve as everything that comes into being, everything that exists. Is it? I've done my will all in this earth and spread through it. I've done my will in the earth. Pay attention. In the earth and spread throughout it. Brought myself into existence from the primordial matter and manifest as everything that manifests, every form from the beginning. I don't know. I think that's a nail right there. I think that's a nail right there. So we can put the polytheism to bed, because or put it to rest, because you know it doesn't matter what cosmology I look through. Cosmology of Ptah, cosmology of you know pertaining to Ra and the Anu, cosmology you know pertaining to Amun, Kunum. Okay, we go to Philae Temple, you know, in Aswan, and see Osset being referred to in the same vein. Osset as the source, right? Birthing the creator. Birthing the creator as the source, you know? Being an extension of herself, right? Through which she works, performs her work. Right? You know, when you find these different cosmologies, you're looking at a different path an avenue to ultimately coming into awareness of the ultimate reality. It's a different road. It's like saying that Neter is town square. Okay, Neter is the town city, or what you call the town center, and all of the temples and cosmologies are the different roads and paths that you take to get to that center. Yeah. Get to that realization. That's the way to understand that. Okay, each one of these forces teaches you something different that ultimately leads you to that ultimate truth that is Neter. Okay, I say, anybody want to add on? Y'all good?
Well, I was just checking out. Hold on, let me shut up.
Hey, hey, my man scored 80 on him real quick, man. He said, let me just put the nail in the coffin real quick. I think it really speaks to that disconnect that we have, but also the interconnectedness that we have. You see what I'm saying? Like when we looking at this culture, if we're not, dealing with the intricacies, if we're not dealing with things and how they're connected and interwoven, we see this through this particular pillar right here. You see what I'm saying? We see it through, this is, foundational. It shows as African people our view. Look at that view. Look at the view of existence. You see what I'm saying? Like there's all of these things intertwined and connected. And we definitely see this as an opposite from these other manifestations that show us separate. You see what I'm saying? That show us separate, that seek to cause separation or seek to cause division. You see what I'm saying? Distinction and division is not the same thing. So I'm really digging this flow on and how it's going, because we have to be in a position where we're defining. You know what I mean? And we're redefining, because so much has been taken away from us. We might have thought this was white folk shit because we ain't had nobody to bring it to us in the way that it's being brought now. So heavily dependent upon our enemy. Thus far, look at what it has yielded us. You see, so now we got a unique opportunity to bring that back, to turn that tide, to become reconnected, and then back into the flow of this interconnectedness that we share as African people. So, Dua Neter for that, Mr. Dua Neter.
Dua Neter. I'm gonna come behind you good brothers, and basically kind of formulate a statement and kind of roll out a question. And I'm going to say, looking at our people, we definitely were, and like I said, every day it seems like I'm finding out something new about the greatness of our people. And it looks like one thing that our ancestors did know is that they were divine. And we look at the mentality or our minds that have been hijacked. Our African minds have been hijacked, and rather than having, somebody that you're familiar with driving your car, you see your car going down the road and you don't know who the hell that is driving your car. That's the kind of situation we're in. And it seems like we don't mind, that we just saw somebody, that we didn't know riding in our car. As a matter of fact, we're going to go over and ask if we can ride with them, and I think that is the place where our people are right now. And it has been that way, we could say, because of, some things that we did in the past, because of the European, whatever it is. I think it is a thing where we have lost our understanding, or our need to understand and appreciate our divinity. And rather than, you know, because I was telling my mama this, you know, in the church, you hear a lot of people saying that, hey, I ain't nothing but a worthless sinner. I'm a wretch undone. Because of Jesus, that's the only way that I can make it. Because Jesus came back and spilled his blood, that's the way. And this is how we should feel about our ancestors. This is how we should feel about things that are relevant to us. You understand? And this is that inner connection of divinity. Because with me understanding, paying homage, and realizing and understanding that water is divine, understanding that air is divine, understanding that earth itself is divine, then I can respect myself as being one that is being a culmination of all of those components, and making me or awarding me or bringing me to a place where I can manifest who and what I am. And so that is where it kind of brought me to ask if we were polytheists. I mean, if we were theists even at all, because I guess inside what I saw is polytheist is basically saying that, hey, we have this inclination to worship something outside of ourselves. But that's not anything that we're doing, because when we're looking at our ancestors, our seal you, we look at that as being us. You know, I think we were talking about the importance of DNA the other day, how those things fire and shoot and communicate. You want to have those things communicating in the right way. So that means if you want to have it, just like a motor, if you want to have those things firing off the way, you be in there shining it up, grooming it up. And it seems like that's what we should be doing with our own selves, and, you know, with those components. And as it relates to taking us back to where we were. So I might have answered my own question, because, you know, I guess with us being theists or polytheists, all of those kind of they kind of point back to something outside of yourself. But I think even with us in the African understanding, we even understood that when you pooped, even when we look at the beetle, looking at Kefri and looking at how it would lay a circle in its dung. And in that dung, or in the aftermath, or in the poop, it would place its eggs, and that would be the rebirth or life. You know, it would be life. So understanding that, even my grandma would always tell me that even you can listen to a fool, you can listen to a quote unquote, you can learn from a retarded person or idiot, or however it is that you want to see things, because it all does make sense. We are all relative when we're looking at it. Even when we look at that European, I know I hate that that cracker, but when we look at him, we have to be honest that there's a relationship, because if it were not for that European right now, it wouldn't define. You know, he kind of, that is defining where we are right now, this time. You understand? Because when we leave from this place, we will know that, hey, we were here not during the time where black people or mainly Africans were ruling the world. It was at a time where you had a cracker like a Donald Trump. You gonna remember that crazy. We had a Donald Trump, that orange cracker, and that kind of, I think that kind of showed what time it was. That showed that, hey, it was 4 o'clock. We were going to 5. We weren't yet at 6, but it's gonna kind of give us a reference, a time reference. So, and Dwight Natel for all of those things, because I see it as my eye, as the restoration. So like it's deep. The cosmology is deep. It brings us to a deep place. Dwight Natel, man. Thank you, brother Aankhu Benu and brother Knowledge.
That's it. Dwight Natel.
Let me sneak in. Can I sneak in real quick and score 5? I ain't gonna score 80. No, I'm good.
Go ahead, get in there, man.
I'm good for 5. I'm good for 5. You know what I'm saying? Let me. I want to read, because Ikwani brought up something. You know, at the beginning of him speaking. just how disconnected we are. And, right before we started, I was reading page 49, when Heru was speaking to his father, Osir, on page 49 of Remembering Osir. And he's describing his brother to his son. He's letting him know the characteristics and traits of Sutesh. And regardless of how great he's describing Sutesh, he's describing Sutesh so that Heru is aware and how he's going to have to, govern himself. You see, based off of this type of situation. So I just want to read this really quick. All right. Sutesh has become very powerful and is hungry for more power. He has an insatiable thirst for power, yet it is the same blind ambition that will lead him to his demise. Though he has spread his empire far and wide over the earth, he himself has become more isolated than ever. As it is fear that drives him, it is fear that prevents people from rising up against him. He has slaughtered many of our people, enslaved others, and others have fled to preserve lives as best as they can. Kemet is now run and populated by foreigners of a strange persuasion. Our people are oppressed and have lost the knowledge of who they truly are. And as a result, they are quickly falling away from civilization. It is on you, my son, to liberate them and show them for Sutesh has over time conditioned our people to embrace their own oppression and even fight against those that try to extricate them from it, and in some cases even killing those who fight for them. Sutesh is very shrewd. In these circumstances, separate the people from him if they won't let him go. Fight for them if they're not willing to. If they're willing to fight me, how can I fight Sutesh? I don't know anything about fighting. So just looking at that, we see the responsibility of the deliberating force. The liberating force is seeking to fight against an enemy to restore order out of chaos, but they are not equipped with the proper tools necessary to go to battle. They know that they got to fight. They see what's going on, but understanding that this task of being this redeeming force, this redeeming energy, this reconciliation force. So, looking at this task, looking at the conditions of the people, look at the mind that's associated with it. Seeking to save them. You understand what I'm saying? You're seeking to save a people that is so entrenched and involved with this process of devastation, so content with this level of oppression, so content with the conditioning that has been placed upon generation to generation, and with each generation you go further and further into the rabbit hole of despair and hopelessness in regards to yourself. You become further and further away from civilization as the text is speaking to. Even with all of that being said, the fact that a Heru type of archetype still exists. Like there's still people that are rising up. They're not like the vast majority of the population, where which they're just going along to get along. And some people have fled. All of the life, we can see all of this right now through our ancestral examination, through our ancestral look, that we've been in this position before. And this is how we fall. But this is how, in our falling, we can still learn a lesson on how we get up. and we come back more fortified and more stronger than before. So when we start looking at this, we start to see what is being brought forth between this conversation between father and son, and to know that he don't got to go this road alone when he's remembering his father, when he's in tune with his ancestral forces. All of these things become easier. You know, not saying that they become. You still have to go through the process, but knowing that you don't have to go this road alone. It's a journey. It's a struggle. It's a fight, but it's an internal fight that you're fighting to reclaim who you are. And the last thing on the page was key. He said, because it's your destiny, Heru, yours and yours alone, Osir replied, time is on your side and I am with you. No, to know that confident, like, okay, look, time is on your side and I am with you. So we could see this Sutesh type of, you know, energy that's out here right now with the people, but understanding that we got time is on our side, and as long as we're going supposed to go with that redeeming hero spirit, with that champion spirit, to be able to be victorious, we're good as long as we continue hand and we children, and they give it to their children. So we're there for them in the same manner. Share is there for Heru, and then I answer. I just wanted to drop 5 real quick. You know what I'm saying?
210. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's why y'all need to get this book. This is why y'all need to get this book. Break it down, GG. Tell them where they can get this book from.
This ain't no game, man. Hey, man. Y'all dropping too many points, man.
Want to tell. Yo, so the passage that Baum was just reading about Heru and Osir, you know, that's also found in the book. Remember Osir? You know, it's included as chapter 1. You know, you can get that book at www.heninsu.com. That's NENSU.com. www.heninsu.com. It's on the site, and get your copy so that you can get in this tradition. Because I'm telling you, the way that we're you know, articulating you know, the tradition of our ancestors. You know, you didn't hear me go to India to prove to you that our ancestors saw Neter as the only thing in existence, period. Or that, you know, to prove or to disprove the misconception that our ancestors were polytheists. You didn't see me go to Kemet, or I mean not Kemet. You didn't see me go to India or go to China or go to the Jew or the Hebrew or the Muslim or anything like that to prove that our ancestors were not polytheists. I did it right there from the actual words, the actual text, the actual literature. Ancestors. It's sufficient. It's sufficient. And you know, that second pillar pertaining to the many agencies that are, you know, or forces that are aspects of the one B, or the agencies and vehicles through which the one B carries out its work, right? And this is simply or very easily expressed in the depiction of the you know, of the creative process as the natural coming into being as the one's limbs. The limbs, the members of the body of Neter, right? How do you do your work? Your hands, your fingers, your feet, your heart, your mind, your tongue, right? Your lips, you do your speech, right? This is how you do your work. You carry out your work with your limbs. That's the poetry of our ancestors, right? That's the poetry of our ancestors. You understand? You know, through articulating creation and the creative process as the one divine being designing itself, articulating itself through speaking its own name and designing the body parts which come forth as its children, right? The divine forces are the body parts of the one through which it carries out the work of creation and maintains it. Okay, this is very, you know, this is very simple to understand. And our ancestors poetically, very poetically wanted to make it clear that, okay, you know, just like you do your work with your hands, your fingers, your feet, right, your legs, you know, your heart, your mind, this is how you work. This is how Neter works through the Neteru as its limbs, right? But going even a step further, understanding that all of creation, right? Everything that exists are the members and limbs of Neter, right? Which means that life itself is the work of the divine, right? And every single thing that exists, right? It's the divine working itself out. For what purpose, right? We can get on that, you know, at another time. You know what I mean? But I say, you know, I wanted to lay that down, you know, those two pillars to start things off. And you know, next week, you know, we'll come back and go in with the next pillars, you know what I mean? Because you know, this is something that we definitely want to take our time with. And you know, you know, for those of you that are tuning in, you come back here same time, same place next week. And if you have questions, some things that you might have some misconceptions, you might have some things that you're like, yo, well, you know, I heard this and blah, 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 blah. Is this true? Right? Bring them questions. We'll deal with it. You know what I mean? We'll deal with it. But yo, Bond, I say I'm good. I'm good for tonight, sir. You know what I mean? If you have any anything, you know, we can rock with it.
That was only two pillars, fam. That was only two pillars up in the joint. And we got the abridged version. See what I'm saying? So y'all got to get this book. Y'all got to be able to get on this journey with us and see what's going on up in here. You know, it's very rare. Like, I'm going to just use this example. You know, Dr. Amos Wilson wrote the blueprint for Black Power 20 years ago. You know, so, and he wrote it for such a time as now. It's, you know, in the age of Obama. So he wrote a book to speak about a time 20 years to the future, in a time that he wouldn't exist in the physical realm. So with that type of situation, we have to infer on what Bob Amos Wilson was seeking to deliver to us in that magnificent text called Blueprint for Black Power. The fortunate thing that we have right here with this book, this 666-page textbook, instruction manual, daily living guide right here, is that we have the author of this magnificent text right here, right before your very eyes. So if you got questions, if you got commentary, if you want to know if you're on track with your analysis or off track with your analysis, you got the author right here. You know, so you can get the book and you can reach directly out to our brother Aankhu Benu and get your questions answered and have somebody hear your social commentary or your take or your review or anything that goes along with this text right here. You don't got to infer. You don't have to guess. You don't got to speculate. You can get a clearer understanding right here, you know, while we're dealing with this series. And also every Wednesday, We got the study group. We got the study group. So we bring in our questions, we bring in our comments, we're bringing our discussion to study this text, and bring out these concepts for our family. You see what I'm saying? So it's a great opportunity, and that's 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Wednesday via Do the Knowledge Radio's YouTube channel. So you got two opportunities during the week. You got Wednesday and you got Saturday. So we're gonna be here, with the series, and our brother's gonna give it to us. We got some information tonight on Medunate. We're gonna get into that. You understand what I'm saying? So we ain't got to try to figure out, what's going on with that. And we got this text that we're going through, and some of these other points. The goal is to clear up any misconceptions that have been associated with Kemetic spirituality and the Kemet tradition, and our relationship to our ancestors. So, Dwight said to you, chief priest, and that dynasty over there. You know what I'm saying? For continuing to allow yourself to be available for the family, and share in our growth and development process in regards to our reconnection with our African ancestry. So we ain't got to go to AfricanAncestry.com, GG.
Oh. Till. I say, Dwight and Tab, hey man, once again, I appreciate the opportunity to come on here and share with our people, what the ancestors, have blessed me to serve as a conduit to give this information to our people. So, like I say, everything that I say that we're talking about, this is our ancestors, right? If you think that Aankhu Benu is great or wise, it's because our ancestors are great or wise. Because I'm just speaking what they wrote. I'm speaking what they wrote. I'm presenting what they presented. Okay, reintroducing it to our people. So, Dwight and Ted, for the opportunity, and like I said, I look forward to the upcoming installments in the series to go deeper and to go further, man. So, Dwight and Ted.
All right, fam, we're gonna close up out of here. About to go live on my channel. I'm telling you, boy, the day never stop. We doing this behind the scenes look at the making of Do Knowledge Radio. So we definitely gonna get my brother Aankhu Benu over here, over there to get his thoughts, you know what I mean, in regards to the platform, his experiences thus far, and all of that. So about to go live over there shortly. So with that, we're gonna say peace, love, black power, and see you next Saturday.
All right.